right, and now let's move on here, Sean. I pulled this from OddsShark yesterday for the over under in terms of win totals. We'll go team by team, rapid fire. If you want to give any thoughts on a specific team, you can do
All
that.
Simple
Arizona,
over under.
yeah, Arizona 7.5 wins. I have them at under. I just, like Kyler Murray, he's got to show me a little bit more. Hopefully, he's got the chemistry with DeAndre Hopkins, but I'm going to go under. Arizona, over for you. Atlanta Falcons 7.5. I have under, even though I think they can be improved. I think they're gonna stumble early. 7.5 Atlanta.
Well, my answer is going to help your pick for Carolina with the first pick over.
Okay. Baltimore 11.5. Now I had written down under, but I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna change it 11th hour. I'm gonna go over Baltimore 11.5.
Well, he's my MVP. I got to go over.
That's a smart play. Buffalo 9. I'm gonna go slight over.
Yes, I'm with you. Barely over.
Carolina 5.5. I'm going to go under. I think Carolina is going to be an absolute dumpster fire. I think they're in what again, and I go back to this. NFC South could be the best division in football this year. So you're playing 6 games against them, and then you gotta win 10 others. You gotta play 10 other games. Carolina's going to win 4 at best if it's a good year. Carolina under.
So I think McCaffrey's good enough to win at least 2 on his own, maybe 3. And I think Teddy Bridgewater's better than people think he is. He got a pretty good receiving core, despite what you seem to think about it. And that defense has been mediocre, but like on the right side of mediocre. I'm going to take over. I've gone over on every pick, I think, to this point. I'm going to take over.
All
Not
right.
everyone can go over.
Chicago 8.5. I have them making the playoffs, so I'm going to go over. Sean, you got under?
I got to take under somewhere. I'll bet against Chicago.
Cincinnati 5.5. I started writing down over, but I ultimately went under for Cincinnati.
Ride that burro over the mountain. Over.
Cleveland 8.5. I'm gonna go over. I think Baker's gonna be much improved this year. Over.
I got too high on them too fast. I had them in the playoffs last year. Underperformed.
Yeah, see, I have them, at 8.5. I have them winning 9 games. It's the slightest of overs. Dallas Cowboys 9.5. I'm gonna go over. Obviously.
Well, I have them not making the wild card, so I have them probably right around that 9.5 win. Can they actually win 9.5?
Well, they play Washington twice,
9.
so is like a win against Washington really a full win?
Under.
Okay. Denver 7.5 over. I like Denver to be a little bit improved this year. You have them going to playoffs.
They got to go over.
Detroit 6.5. I went under. Stafford. If Stafford stays healthy, if Adrian Peterson works out, if they're running,
if he's healthy, they could go 11-5 and win the North.
Yeah, they were good for the first half of the year last year, and then Stafford blew up and it all fell apart. But I think Matt Patricia is going to be fired mid-season, so I'm going under.
And it's what number 6.5?
6.5. Same would go 6 and 10. I'm not going to say
the Bears going under. I'll take the Lions over. Lions will win
Lions
7
over. Green Bay 9. I went under because I have that thing blowing up.
Yeah, you had to go under. I just don't know how many Minnesota's going to win. I'm going to take Green Bay at the over. We'll put them at about 10-6, maybe 11-5 if the ball bounces the right way in late October.
Houston 7.5. I'm going over.
7.5. Yeah, that's over. I think that's of the ones I've heard so far. That to me feels like the best lock.
The easiest, yeah. That's borderline. Lock it up. Indy 9. I have them winning the division, so I'm going over.
They could be in that wild card at 9.
Right? Are they a push? Because they're one of the few that's a flat number.
I'm gonna edit my other picks. I'm going to take Indianapolis under, and I'm replacing them with Tennessee in the wild card. I've been back and forth since this morning. I'm taking Tennessee as my first wild card, not Indianapolis. Indianapolis is under.
All right. Where was I? We were in Indy. Let's go to Jacksonville, 4.5. I'm going to go the slightest of overs. Jacksonville's going to go 5-11.
Gutsy call. I do love Gardner Minshew. I'll take over with you.
There we go.
Gardner Minshew. Ride that mustache to 5 wins.
Much like Baltimore, Kansas City, 11.5. I'm going over with Kansas City as well.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go with you. I think that Jacksonville one, though, I think there's a good chance that Gardner Minshew, just like get rid of Foles, ride the Minshew train, is just a good attempt to get Trevor Lawrence.
It could that's a train with a penny on the tracks.
Either Minshew works out and you win a lot of games while you're not paying a guy, and you sell a bunch of jerseys, and maybe you have your franchise quarterback, or you don't, and it blows up in your face.
Or it just blows up. You get Trevor Lawrence.
Get Trevor Lawrence. Kansas City over.
The Las Vegas Raiders 7.5. I'm going over. I think they're going to win 9 games, maybe 10.
I don't think every team in the league can win 9 games. I feel like where we're balancing our overs and unders.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as I was going down the list, and I'm writing them down. I'm like, you know what? I
don't think it's mathematically possible for as many teams as I've said.
Probably not, but like that just means that some of the ones that you're predicting are actually going to hit, though.
That's right. Vegas over.
The Los Angeles Chargers 7.5 under.
Under.
They're going to be bad. They're going to be
like my second finalist. It was Washington, Jets, or Chargers for the number 1 pick this year.
Like, obviously, 2020, COVID-19, pandemic, millions of people sick, thousands of people dead, horrible situation. This may be best case scenario for the Los Angeles Chargers because you have a giant stadium worth $1 billion. They weren't going to be able to put a lot of people in there. Now you don't even have to worry about that because the city of Los Angeles, like, you can't put people in a stadium. The Chargers are like,
and the Chargers didn't know what was going on. They're like, yeah, we know. We're trying to get fans. And they're like, no, you actually can't.
You literally, they're like, Chargers, you can't put a crowd in the stadium. Yeah, I know.
And then they were like,
we couldn't do it. We couldn't do it in Carson.
Taylor as a starter, and when this blows up in our face, we'll draft Trevor Lawrence.
We couldn't put people in the crowd in Carson City. How the hell are we going to do it in Los Angeles?
Yeah, the Tyrod Taylor experiment is also an attempt to get Trevor Lawrence.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was Panthers or Chargers for me, as my number 1 pick. Let's stay in Los Angeles. Los Angeles Rams 9. I'm taking the under on them. I think they are going to be the last place team in that division.
Take the under. I agree. I have them 4th in that division.
So actually, I'm gonna revert back. I'm gonna change my 7.5 Cardinals over to over, as opposed to an under.
Because you're taking the Rams.
Because I'm taking the Rams under. Yes. Miami 6.5. Slight over. They're going to win 6.75 games. They can get 7. I think they can get 7
because I almost had them finishing ahead of New England until I really thought about it.
Like, Tua is going to start at some point, right? There's no way Fitzpatrick is that starter for the whole year.
Fitzmagic, man. Fitzmagic.
Can't bet against the
Bears. I'm riding Fitzmagic to the AFC East Championship.
Jesus, it's 2020 probably. Minnesota 9. I'm going over because I have them going all the way to Super Bowl.
I'll take over on Minnesota at 9.
New England 9. Over. They're going to win 10.
My last wild card.
I had Buffalo at over. I have New England
9?
at over. Even 9.
That's a push.
Are you going to push? Are you going to push?
That's a push at 9 wins.
Push at 9 wins.
That's a gutsy call. I'm calling push at 9 wins.
New Orleans. Wait, where did I have? I had them winning the division. Oh yeah, I screwed that one up.
It's an over.
10.5. I'm changing mine to over. I wrote under. What was I thinking? Over for New Orleans.
I have them winning that division as well.
The New York Giants 6.5.
Oh no, I have them finish second in that division. What was it? 10.5.
10.5.
So Tampa Bay would have to win like 13 games.
Yeah, their over unders at 9.5. We'll get to that in a second.
I'll still take over.
Okay, all right. The New York Giants 6.5 under. I think they're going to be bad. Not Washington bad, but they're going to be bad. And at 6.5, I'm going to say they can win 6. Maybe 5 or 6.
6, yeah, 6 and 10.
New York Jets 7 under.
Under, not even close.
Eagles 9.5 over.
Over.
49ers 10.5. I have over.
Over.
Seattle 9 over.
Is that your push?
That you know what? That's a push for me.
All right, I'll take over. I have them in the playoffs.
All right, I changed mine to a push. Tampa Bay 9.5 over.
I have to take over.
You have to. Yes, you have to.
I almost had them beating Baltimore and going to or beating Philadelphia and going, but then I realized I can't. You can't have Tom Brady beating the Eagles.
Tennessee 8.5. I'm changing mine. I had written over. I'm going under. I think they're going to have a hangover from last year. Tennessee under.
And I had written under, but I'm gonna switch it to.
You got to switch it over because you haven't gone to playoffs.
Yeah.
And then finally, this may be one of the easier ones. Washington football team 5.5.
That, by the way, that's your Browns number from last year was 5.5.
Lock it up. That's a lock it up. That's a stone cold lock. Under.
Washington, lock it up. Under.
Under 5.5.
Put a chain around it. Lock it up.
That one's easy.
Chain it right to Houston at over. throw them in a safe.
That one's real easy. And then finally, Sean, obviously, my Capitals never even cared about the bubble. Your Eagles had the heartbreak, or your Flyers. Your Flyers had the heartbreak this past weekend in Game 7.
Heartbreak the only way Philadelphia does it, which is to get you to the
get your
brink of
hopes
excitement,
up and then snatch it out,
and then just crap their pants, fall off the face of the plate.
Yeah, that was not a good Game 7.
You could have just lost in Game 5. I'd have been upset.
Right. Why'd you have to take it to 7 if you're going to do that?
Or go to 7 and lose in overtime. Be like, okay, it was a heck of a game.
Yeah, maybe the Islanders are just that good. But we have our final four: Vegas, Dallas. Dallas, of course, winning Game 1, pretty convincing fashion. Right now, though, Vegas 3 goals in the second period. 1 even was waved off, so it could have been 4. Just kicking the teeth out of Dallas tonight. So unless Dallas really comes out firing, Vegas and Dallas is going to be at 1-1. The Tampa Bay Lightning, who were sitting idle for almost a week, it felt like, 8-2 over the New York Islanders last night. Islanders are going to bounce back tomorrow. There's no way that they're going to let that sit. But Tampa Bay finally looks like that team that they haven't been for the couple of years. Like, they were becoming the new Sharks. And when I say that, I mean they're the team that is great in the regular season, but ultimately they were never able to really put it together. And until they told me they could, I wasn't going to believe in them. Now maybe I'm starting to believe that this version of the Tampa Bay Lightning is actually really good. So looking at the Final Four, Vegas and Dallas in the West, Tampa Bay and New York Islanders in the East. Sean, who do you have advancing in this one? For me, despite losing Game 1, Dallas actually changed their goalie, so they're almost waving the white flag here for Game number 2. I like Vegas to win this series. This one may go all the way to 7. These two teams are pretty damn close to each other. And then in the East, I'm still going to go the Islanders. Despite what happened in Game number 2 or Game number 1, I like the Islanders. They remind me of a team. You can see the banner over my head here in 2018. Barry Trotz.
I feel like that banner gets smaller every year.
Well, it kind of does. I mean, my head gets bigger, I think is what it is.
Okay,
but Barry Trotz and, that coaching staff, I know what that coaching staff can do. A loss in Game 1 means nothing to them. I think they're going to bounce back tomorrow and start going. I think that series only goes 5 or 6 games. I don't think they're going to push it all the way to 7. So I like my Stanley Cup final to be Vegas and the Islanders.
I'm going to differ on you a little bit. I like Vegas in the West. I think Dallas is going to falter kind of quick here. I think they kind of got caught. Both teams came off Game 7 wins. But I think Vegas just kind of got caught in a slip-up kind of series. I think if Colorado's goalie doesn't get hurt, I don't think Dallas ever gets out of that series. And I think Dallas has made it as far as they're going to. I have Vegas winning that one a little earlier than you, probably about Game 5 or 6. I'm not going to have it going 7. And unlike a lot of these Flyers fans that seem to think like, oh, you beat us, I hope Tampa Bay kills you. I have no problem with the team that beats us going and winning the whole thing. I feel like that series with the Flyers may have taken enough out of the sails. I think a little extra games, and I think that rest is going to come into play. I think Tampa comes out and wins the first couple, and then the Islanders scrap back into it, kind of like the Flyers did, but ultimately run out of gas, and Tampa takes it late, Game 6 or 7. So I got Tampa against Las Vegas, and then I have Las Vegas beating Tampa.
Yeah, I mean, Vegas was my Stanley Cup champion from the beginning when we put the brackets together. So I'm not going to sway off of them as long as they're still in the damn thing. So I'm going to continue with Vegas beating the Islanders in the Stanley Cup Finals.